Your Honor, the defense would call Mr. Jason Palmer.
Mr. Palmer, if you come up here to the witness stand, please. Remain standing to be sworn.
Please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence you give to the court and the jury in the trial between the state of Georgia and Jason Palmer will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Mr. Palmer, please state your name for the record,
Jason Palmer,
and please spell that.
Jasonpalmer.
And are you the defendant in this case?
Yes, I am.
Tell the jury a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up? What do you do for a living?
I grew up in Massachusetts, a little bit outside of Boston, and I am an owner-operator of an 18-wheeler.
Are you an over-the-road truck driver?
Yes, I am.
Do you have a primary residence other than your truck?
I do not.
Were you working at any specific company in October of 2022?
Yes.
And who was that for?
It was Hirschbach Motor Lines.
How long have you had a CDL license?
Since maybe the end of 2016.
Did you know Jessica Goodrich?
Yes, I did.
How did you know her?
She was my girlfriend for 9 years.
How long had you known her in total?
I've actually known her since probably the late 90s.
When did you and Jessica Goodrich break up?
We broke up actually Valentine's weekend of 2020.
Did you ever get back together?
No.
So when she got in the truck with you in September of 2022, were you back in a boyfriend-girlfriend situation?
It was complicated. We had talked about it, but nothing was ever official.
Okay. Now, you were together with Jessica for 9 years. Did you ever get engaged during that 9-year period?
Yes.
Did you love Jessica?
Yes, I did.
Now, the obvious question that everybody wants to know the answer to.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to those type of gratuitous preparatory comments on a direct examination.
Sustain. Just ask your questions, please.
Did you kill Jessica Goodrich?
No, I did not.
When is the last time you saw Jessica?
In my truck.
Can you give us a specific date that you saw her?
October 5th of 2022.
And where was your truck located on October 5th of 2022?
I was at the Pilot Truck Stop in Wildwood, Florida.
Walk us through the events that happened leading up to when you last saw Jessica.
That day,
More specific, more close in time to when she actually left?
everything was okay, and then we got into an argument. She had seen a message come in through on my phone, and it just got her going again about me having a baby with Katie. That was a lot of our problems, and she would just go off over it. And that's what happened that day, and she ended up calling and talking to Katie, and it just continued and continued and continued until finally I had enough, and I made a comment to her, and she decided at that point to leave my truck.
And what was the comment you made to her?
I told her that I would never be her, that I would never not see my child and give my child up. That it didn't matter what she did, I wasn't going to be a junkie loser.
So she was asking you to deny your child,
Yes,
and you told her in no uncertain words that was not happening.
I did, yes.
So she made the decision to get out of your truck
Yes,
in Wildwood, Florida,
yes,
on October 5th, 2022.
yes.
Do you recall about what time this may have occurred?
I don't. The only thing I do know is it was dark. It was late evening, maybe.
What was she wearing when she got out of your truck?
She was wearing a pair of my shorts and one of my tank tops
Why was she wearing your clothes?
because she really didn't have any clothes.
What happened? Do you know what happened to her clothes?
Apparently, before she was with her sister, she stayed with her aunt that threw her out of her house and kept most of her clothes.
Okay, and by before Jessica was with her sister, what sister are you referring to?
Pamela Shays.
And we heard from Pamela Shays throughout this trial.
Yes.
When would Jessica have had, what type of belongings did Jessica have with her, if any, when she got out of your truck?
I couldn't tell you. It was like maybe a half a trash bag full, but I didn't like look in to see what was in there.
Would she have had a wallet when she got out of the truck?
Yes,
Did she have her cell phone when she got out of the truck?
yes.
Did she have any other shirts or shorts that belonged to you?
Possibly, when she left, her stuff was in my duffel bag, so some of my stuff could have been in her bag, with her stuff.
Why would her stuff and your stuff be together in your duffel bag?
Because my cabinet was full of my clothes, so I used to just keep my overflow stuff, and she put her stuff in with my stuff. And also dirty laundry always gets thrown in the same spot.
When Jessica got out of your truck on October 5th, 2022 in Wildwood, were you expecting her to come back?
Yes,
Why?
because she's done this before.
About when do you recall it happening before?
Exactly, I don't know. Maybe a week before. It happened twice before.
So you said about a week before, but Jessica was only with you for about a week. Is that correct?
No, she was with me longer than that.
Okay. When did you pick up Jessica in Massachusetts?
I honestly thought that it was more towards the beginning of September,
Okay.
like around the 8th or 9th.
I think we've heard from others that it was around September 26th.
Yeah, and that's what had confused me. That doesn't seem right.
Okay. But you said one time happened a week before. When did the other time happen where she got out of your truck but came back?
It would be before that. I honestly don't know. Maybe a week before that.
Okay, so each time we're talking about the instances when she's back in your truck, this time not something from a prior relationship, pre-2020.
Oh, yeah, no, it was this time.
Okay. Pre-2020, when she was with you, did she ever get out of your truck and come back?
Yes.
But what would typically happen when she did that?
She would just get out of my truck and she would go along the side of my truck and sit on the curb and cry or complain about me to other people.
Would she take her belongings with her during those times?
Yes,
So you were expecting her back this time, even though she took her belongings?
yes.
Your Honor, again, the nature of these questions are leading.
Lead your
They're nothing
witness.
other than that. I object.
It was a recounting of his testimony, Judge,
Okay, don't lead your
and he
witness.
already answered. How, I think we already talked about that. Do you know if Jessica had any money when she left?
Yes, she did.
Did you give her the money?
Technically, no, she took it out of my wallet.
And how much money do you believe she would have had?
Probably about $350.
Why do you think that she would have had that amount?
Normally, I carry $500 cash on me for emergencies, but I had spent some of it.
What's the significance of the $500?
In case my fuel card doesn't work, I need $500 cash to fill my truck with fuel.
That's how much it costs to fill up your truck?
Yes.
Even though Jessica took it out of your wallet, did you ever try to prevent her from taking it?
No.
Did Jessica have her own bank cards?
Yes, she did.
Did Jessica have her own source of income?
Yes, she did.
What was that?
She was on Social Security.
Did you have any other interactions with Jessica after 10/5/2022 when she got out of your truck in Wildwood, Florida?
None.
Jessica never came back?
No.
What did you do after Jessica left?
I went to sleep.
What happened, I guess, later on that day or into the following morning?
When I woke up,
Yes.
she wasn't back. She wasn't there.
Did you do anything to try to locate her?
I did, yes. I walked around the truck stop. I went through the truck stop.
Did you find Jessica at the truck stop?
I did not.
About how long did you spend looking for her?
Maybe 20, 30 minutes.
Did you try to call or text her at that point?
I did not.
Why not?
Because I just didn't want to create a problem if the problem was gone.
After you tried to find Jessica, what did you do?
I grabbed my coffee and my drinks for the day. I took my dog out and left the truck stop.
Where did you go after you left the truck stop?
I drove to Woodbine, Georgia.
Did you make any stops in between the Pilot truck stop and Woodbine, Georgia?
No stops, no.
Okay, define that for me, or explain that.
I didn't actually have any stops. I was already loaded and was just driving, but I did have a run-through at a weigh station, which is not a stop.
Can you describe that run-through for us, what that process looks like?
I have a transponder in my truck that tells me when I'm passing a weigh station whether I have to pull into that weigh station or not. When I was passing Florida's, it flashed green to pull me in. So I just pull off the highway and drive through, and it weighs me as I'm driving, and if my weight is not close to the weight, I'll just get a fly-through, and I'll just go through, and that's what happened.
Okay, so at any point, did you have a braking event in that weigh station?
I don't recall.
Okay. And would your truck data even register if you just apply your brakes?
Not regularly, no.
Okay. When would your truck register a stop?
For my GPS,
Yes, your GPS truck logs that we saw earlier in the trial.
okay, my truck will only register that my truck is stopped if I stop my truck for at least 5 minutes. It's there for stoplights and stop signs.
Okay, because otherwise there would be a whole bunch of stops, right?
Yes,
At, if you were driving in town.
yes,
So what you're telling the jury is even though there's not a stop recorded, you still went to the weigh station?
yes, I did.
When would be another time that your truck would record a stop? Like, when you turn off your engine, would that be noted on those logs?
If I leave my truck on the drive line, it would be the same thing. If I kill the ignition, it would put my truck off the drive line. Otherwise, my truck has to be stationary for 5 minutes before I will leave the drive line.
Okay, I want to use some of our previously admitted exhibits to demonstrate this. Is it coming on? Waiting for the,
I'll figure it out.
there we go. I am showing you what has been previously admitted as Defense Exhibit 3. Trying to show that exhibit sign. Do you recognize these HOS logs?
Yes, those are hours of service logs.
Okay, can you help me understand what all of this means on this front page?
Which specifically, I mean, this is literally,
I'll try to break it down. What does this date represent?
that's the date and time of my logs.
No, I guess it's more this date. Date of RODS, what does that mean? Does the acronym RODS or initials RODS mean anything to you?
No, that one does not.
Okay. But this does have a date of Monday, October 24th, 2022.
Correct, yes.
Please read what I have just circled there.
Hirschbach Motor Lines Incorporated. The home terminal address is 2460 Kerper Boulevard in Dubuque, Iowa, 52001.
Is that your home terminal?
Yes, it is.
And what about what I've circled here?
That's where the time zone that my home terminal is located in, central time zone.
Okay. What about this data here?
That would, the top one, the starting odometer, would be the mileage on my truck when I started my day and when I ended my day. The engine hours on my truck, and then I'm assuming I'm used to, see, this isn't what I look at inside my truck. I have to go to a separate area for this one. But the total hours, 13 hours and 19 minutes, I'm assuming that's gonna be how long I was on duty that day. And cycle hours, that's 7 hours and 1 minute that I have left on my 70-hour clock.
I'm going to direct your attention to page 40 of 52. What date is this for?
10/24.
No. What date of RODS?
Oh, October 6th. 10/6.
And that's of 2022?
Yes.
Does this graph down here mean anything to you?
Yes, this is actually what I see in my truck.
Okay. Now explain what we're seeing here.
Okay, so on the left, you have off, SB, D, and on. The off is off-duty. I can use that during lunch breaks. I can also use that during sleeping time. But they also have a sleeper berth option, which is the SB. The D is your drive line, and on is your on-duty line for when you're fueling or at a shipper or receiver, or your pre-trips or your post-trips.
Okay. So off means off-duty, you're not working.
Correct.
The SB is sleeper, you're sleeping, but you said you kind of interchange some of the sleeping and the off.
Yeah, it stands for sleeper berth.
Okay. The D, you said that stands for what?
Drive time.
So that's when you're actually driving on the road.
Correct.
But the on could be when you're picking up a load.
Correct.
Okay. And you also mentioned something about a pre-trip or post-trip.
Yes.
Tell us more about that.
The pre-trip and post-trips are almost the same thing. When I wake up and start my day, a pre-trip, I have to be on duty whenever I'm working. And when I do my walk around on my truck and check the engines, check the engine and the reefer, I would have to be on duty. And the same goes for my post-trip. When I'm done with my day, I have to check my truck again to make sure that everything's okay. Maybe something I didn't feel is wrong, and I have to be on duty working during this time.
What are some of the other things that you do during your pre-trip?
My pre-trip, that's pretty much it.
Let me ask it this way. Do you pre-plan where your next stop is going to be?
Yes, I do.
Do you pre-plan when you intend to arrive at that stop?
Yes, I do.
And do you pre-plan when you intend to leave for that stop?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So is that at all considered your pre-trip, or would that fall under your off?
No, that falls under my post-trip.
Post-trip, okay.
Correct.
But that would still be part of when you're on duty?
Correct, yes.
This is a continuation of that trip. Explain why there's a SB, a D, and on, a D, and on. Why is it going back and forth there?
Because those ones, I'm manually changing. So it looks like I was off duty for 12 hours and 52 minutes, right?
What
No.
part are you looking at?
I'm looking at the wrong side. When I'm going from,
Let me direct your attention somewhere, and we can start from there. SB, continued from previous day, what does that mean?
sleeper berth.
Okay,
Means I was in the sleeper berth at midnight that night as well, so it's continued from the previous day.
and what does that mean?
That's how long I was in the sleeper berth for, 9 hours and 26 minutes that day.
Okay. And that's continued from the previous day.
Correct.
What does this mean here?
That would be my drive line, and I would be driving 3 miles west of Wildwood, Florida.
And how long did you drive?
3 minutes and 35 seconds.
Then you have an on here, still in the same location. What does that mean?
That means I was either doing a pre-trip, or it could have been a pre-trip, it could have been a post-trip. I was working in some aspect. I could have been fueling.
Did you visit any scales when you were in Wildwood, Florida?
No, I did not.
Okay. Do you recall visiting the villages when you were in Wildwood, Florida?
The name doesn't ring a bell.
Okay. But we do have a couple, just brief minutes, 6 minutes, 3 minutes of some type of drive time or pre-trip time when you are in Wildwood, Florida before you leave.
Yes.
How long or how many miles did you drive to Woodbine, Georgia?
176.2.
And how long were you driving for?
3 hours and 15 minutes.
Are there any miles that show up here for this drive and on, et cetera?
No.
Which shows you that you made no stops beforehand, is that correct?
Correct. Or I was possibly just maybe moving around the truck stop.
What time does it show that you arrived in Woodbine, Georgia?
Woodbine.
Or what time did you turn off?
12:52, which would be 1:52 in Eastern time, though.
Okay.
Well, 13:52 on my computer.
Do we see at all on this log where you were made to pull into a weigh station?
No,
Why not?
because my truck never stopped, and so it would never register unless I manually moved it, which I cannot. You cannot manipulate the drive line at all.
What are the ones that you can manipulate?
Off-duty, on-duty, and sleeper berth.
And why is it that you are able to manipulate those?
Because there are times when I'll park my truck and I will forget to switch from on-duty to sleeper berth, and I'm required to take a 10-hour break, and I cannot be on duty, so my clock would not reset if I don't fix it.
But the drive time, though, that data cannot be manipulated by you.
That can be manipulated by nobody.
So had you already decided what your next trip was gonna be, or your next stop was gonna be before you left Wildwood?
Yes, that's part of my post-trip.
When would you have decided, and that's part of your post-trip from your previous trip?
Correct, from when I stopped the previous day.
So when would you have decided that Woodbine was going to be your next stop?
When I was in Wildwood.
Was Jessica still with you when you decided Woodbine was going to be your next stop?
Yes.
Are you sure she was with you when you decided Woodbine was going to be your next stop?
I'm positive because I do it during my post-trip, and I do my post-trip as soon as I'm done driving.
Okay. Did she help you make that choice in stopping in Woodbine?
We'll discuss the restaurants. I generally look at the restaurants of where I need to be to see what's there.
And did Jessica have an opinion on what type of restaurant she would like?
No, it just came up that there was some kind of a Latin or a Mexican restaurant.
In the Woodbine truck stop?
Yeah, and it had excellent reviews.
Okay. And that's why that was part of the reason why you chose that as your next stop in your post-trip
Correct,
with Jessica?
correct.
Had you ever been to that gas station before?
I had not, no.
What did you do at the Woodbine truck stop?
I parked and ate my food and went to sleep.
And you had switched off when you arrived as well?
Correct, yes.
Did you ever go inside the truck stop?
Yes, I did.
Would that have been before or after you went to sleep?
Actually, it would be both.
Okay. Why did you go into this truck stop before you went to sleep?
To get food.
Was there anything else you did inside there other than get food?
I probably grabbed drinks too, yeah.
Where did you get food? Just at the gas station or at the restaurant inside the gas station?
No, I got it at the restaurant in the gas station.
That Latin restaurant?
Correct, yes.
Where was your next delivery, if you can recall?
I was in South Carolina.
And you already had the load with you?
I did, yes.
When was that delivery due by?
It was due, I believe it was the next morning, and I'm pretty sure it was 8 a.m.
Do you recall what time you left Woodbine?
I want to say close to 2 a.m. Eastern Time.
Why do you think it was 2 a.m.?
Just the amount of mileage that I had left, so I would make an on-time delivery and not get there too early.
Is there any significance to the 2 a.m.?
I generally start my day usually around 2 a.m.
Why is that?
The less traffic, the more money I make. I get paid by the mile, so it's just easier.
Traffic is light at 2 a.m.
Correct, yes.
So I'm showing you the logs now from October 7th. Would that have been for the delivery the next day in South Carolina?
Yes, it would have.
What was your ending location there?
7 miles southwest of Lugoff, South Carolina.
What does this show here?
My off-duty and on-duty times.
Okay. So what time did you switch to on duty?
That would be 12:53 in the morning Central Time.
And that would equate to
One-
when?
1:43 Eastern Time,
1:53
or 1:53.
Eastern Standard Time. So just before 2 a.m.
Yes.
Okay. And how long did you drive during this when you left? And this is all in Woodbine, Georgia, right?
Correct.
How long did you drive that day?
At that time, 2 hours and 40 minutes.
How many miles?
175.6.
And your final location was, well, let me show you
Oh, we're going.
more.
Yeah.
So you drove 175 miles for 2 hours and 40 minutes, and then what is the significance of the on 20 miles northeast of Walterboro, South Carolina?
Well, that one I definitely forgot to fix, but that would be a pre-trip.
Okay. Even though you had arrived had you arrived at your destination?
At that time, no.
Was there some more driving that you did that day on 10/7?
Yes.
And how long did you drive for?
1 hour and 27 minutes.
Where did you end?
In Walterboro, South Carolina.
What are all these on, off here? What is all that showing?
That's going to be, you can see, actually, if you move it up a little bit, you can see that I arrived at my destination because I switched. There's on-duty in my computer, but there's also on-duty yard move, which I'm allowed to use at shippers and receivers so that I can move my truck and not affect my drive line, but it's still under working. And it shows that I'm at my final destination with the load.
And that's what the YM
Yes.
stands for, yard move?
Correct.
How long were you at your final destination?
Well, it took me 22 minutes to get from the guard shack to the dock door.
Okay.
And then I was off duty getting unloaded for 3 hours and 6 minutes.
Did you drive again that day?
I did, yes.
How long?
8 minutes and 59 seconds.
Did you stop again that day?
I did.
Do you recall what these stops were for?
If I saw a little bit more, maybe, it actually looks like once I had delivered that load, yeah, I went, after I was unloaded, I drove 3.2 miles to a truck stop.
Okay. So, what about this trip here?
Miles, 16 seconds. No, I did drive further that day. I drove another 35 minutes and another 49 minutes. Yeah. I was probably moving towards my next pickup.
Okay. Now, this data is all from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? You don't remember everything exactly how it happened 2 years ago.
I'm in 2 or 3 states a day.
Okay. Now, how are things between you and Jessica in the days leading up to when she got out of your truck?
It was hit or miss. Pretty much all depended on how much alcohol was involved.
How much alcohol was involved?
Correct.
Was that just her alcohol usage, or was that both?
That was both some days, yes.
Did you have any contact with Jessica's family?
Yes, I did.
And who did you have contact with?
Jojo, which is Rick Goodrich, and Pamela Chase.
What were you asking them?
For help.
For help with what?
To just figure out a way to get her back to Massachusetts.
Why couldn't you bring her back to Massachusetts?
There was several reasons.
Can you elaborate, please?
One was, it depends on where you are in the country, to where you can get a load to. And it is very expensive to drive my truck without a load in it. Another reason is I had just used a favor with my driver manager to get to Massachusetts to pick her up. And the other reason is a few weeks before I had picked her up, I had just come back from a 2-week vacation, so my financial situation was a little lower than it's supposed to be when you're running a truck.
So even though you didn't have a current assignment back to Massachusetts, was it your intention to eventually get there?
Yes, it actually ended up happening where I did end up getting a load back to Massachusetts.
Is there any significance to South Carolina as far as being able to get back to Massachusetts?
Yes.
What is that?
In North Carolina, there's a meat distribution center in Tar Heel, North Carolina, which is close to South Carolina, and they are one of the biggest meat distribution plants in the United States, and it is very easy to get anywhere in the U.S. from that factory.
So after you completed your South Carolina stop, what was your plan?
To pick up a load in Tar Heel, North Carolina, going to Massachusetts.
Now, you made reference to not being able to just go to Massachusetts on a whim. Did you mention that to JoJo?
I don't remember.
I'm showing you what has been previously admitted as Defense Exhibit 7. These are your messages between you and JoJo. Can you read this message from 10-4?
Sorry, been a long day, a really long day. She's not drinking a lot today, so life is fine tonight. She'll just relax and actually pretend she loves me. I don't know what the plan is this second. I really wish I did, but I can't just run back to Mass without a real reason, and I used my real reason to get her. I thought she had changed back into the person I loved, but she's still the same poor me and needs some kind of fix to live life.
I'm going to go ahead and stop you because I think you read the portion I was trying to get out. Here.
Yes.
I can't run back to Massachusetts without a real reason. I used my real reason to get her. What did you mean by that?
I used a favor with my driver manager to get off of a load to get to Massachusetts to pick her up because she had nowhere to go.
And that was what you had just told the jury about.
Right, yeah.
Why were you in Florida?
I delivered a load to Delta, Florida, because my company has a terminal in Delta, Florida, and I needed to get my truck to a terminal because my air conditioner was broken in my truck.
Did the AC get fixed?
It did, and it immediately broke again.
Did you ever go back to the terminal to have them fix it again a second time?
I did not.
Why not?
I reported it, but I had already been there for 2 days, and if I'm not driving, I'm not making any money, and my truck payment alone is enormous.
So you had been in Delta, Florida, and that's just outside of Seffner, Florida on your logs.
Correct.
Do you recall how long you were in Seffner, Florida, or Delta, Florida?
Yeah, I was at my terminal for 2 days.
2 days. So You got to 10/6. Was that when you left Wildwood?
Yes.
Okay. So let's look at 10/5. 10/5, what was your starting location?
10-5. Yeah, it was 2 miles east of Sefner, Florida, which is Delta.
Delta, Florida, where your
Correct.
terminal is at.
Yes.
And on 10/5, what did you do?
I left my terminal and I drove to pick up a load. I believe it was in, I want to say Lakeland. It was 8 miles west, 8 miles east of Wildwood, where I picked the load up.
So there's mention of stuff here. What is that?
Oh, yeah. Yes, that's when I arrive at the shipper. The pre-trip was when I was still at my terminal. And the on-duty is when I arrived to pick up my load.
Okay. But you went straight from Delta, Florida to Wildwood, Florida. And that, you, on 10/5,
Yeah,
after picking up a load.
correct.
After picking up your load in Wildwood, Florida, why didn't you just drive to your next stop in South Carolina or Georgia?
Several reasons. One of them is it was late in the day and I'm generally shut down. That's generally my sleep time. And the other reason is most shippers and receivers will not take you early. So you get there for no reason whatsoever.
Now, you said that after you were going to drop off this load you picked up in Wildwood to South Carolina, your plan was to head back north and would have been to drop off Jessica. Was there any other reason why you were trying to head back north?
No, no, absolutely not. I hate going to Massachusetts.
No, I'm not talking about Massachusetts. Is there any other reason why you wanted to head up north?
Oh, yes, because it's cool, October, it's cooler up north, and I had no air conditioning in my truck.
Are there other terminals up north or in other parts of the country that you could have gotten your AC fixed at?
Yes, we have several terminals. Actually, when I picked up Jessica, I had my air conditioning fixed that day too, and it broke again.
I want to talk about your typical day, or I guess couple of days on the road. How long do you usually drive?
From when I start my day, I will generally drive 8 hours straight.
Do you ever stop for bathroom breaks?
I do not. Unless it's an absolute emergency, I do not stop for bathroom breaks.
What do you do?
If it's number 2, I will stop for a bathroom break. If I just have to pee, I will pee in a bottle.
How long are your breaks usually?
On average, I will be off duty 14 to 16 hours.
Going to show you a couple things. For 10, 2022, how long were you off duty?
17 hours and 8 minutes.
On 10/5, how long were you off duty or in the sleeper berth?
I was off duty for 9 hours and 59 minutes, and in the sleeper berth for 10 hours and 35 minutes.
And where are you getting the off duty from? Lost it.
The off duty is up top.